What's up, everybody? We are back for another packed episode of Fireflies Forever. Um, I'm going to do my best with my voice this evening. Apologies in advance, but let me bring these gentlemen on screen. We've got Joe in the house this week. What's up, Joe?
Not much. What's going on? Hello from snowy Pennsylvania. Yeah, we have kicked fully into the snow, and I can do without it. So, but yeah, I mean, other than trying to stay warm and raising my heat bills, it's just another day in paradise.
Yeah. Gotcha. And Chris, what's up, man? How are you this week?
I'm doing all right. I haven't had much snow here yet, luckily, but it has been cold. It's been like 15 degrees every day here.
Man. All right, now I got to ask you this question. Are you one of the folks that says if it's that cold, just give me the snow? Or are you okay without it? You're good.
No, I'd rather not have the snow.
Okay.
I already don't like the cold. Adding snow on top of it just makes it even worse.
Yeah, I hear people say that sometimes. They're like, just if it's going to be that cold, just let it snow already. I'm like, no, I can bundle up.
Yeah, because that just adds all kinds more problems with the roads
Exactly.
and everything. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I can deal with the cold, but.
I agree. All right. Welcome in to everyone in chat, everyone that's watching us from X, from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thank you all for joining us this week. As we do every episode, we start out with some memories, and I'm gonna have Chris set this one up. I think everyone will get have a smile out of this one.
Yeah, so I found another one similar to one I played a few weeks ago, but this one I think is even funnier. Yeah, I told you guys how back when Logan was little, he was obsessed with the Firefly Funhouse. I mean, he just watched the episodes over and over and over again. And I found another one of him watching it, and this is one that he had memorized, so you'll hear him chime in at certain parts when he knows the words to it.
All right, we'll play this for you and then talk to you on the other side.
And you can stuff your face as much as you want, because you can change. Just like Daniel Bryan can change. All you have to do is follow these few simple rules, and you too can be fat with a PH. Yo, it's your boy, Bryan. And I'm Huskus. And we're about to show you how to pull up your pants and do the muscle man dance. Hey, yo, Huskus, show these bleeping bleepers what we talking about. I'm Huskus, it's P.I.G. Everybody's pants are now set for me because I'm happy. I'm large. I'm not dependent on food isn't charged. I need strudels, noodles, ice cream and jam. I need these things to say no to ham, but if I could work out, my roasted pig, I'd be happiest in the pigeon. Muscle. Man. Dance. Pull up your pants and do the muscle man dance. Muscle. Man. Dance. Erase your mind and do the muscle man dance. Erase your mind. Yo, I told you it's all about shaking them hips and letting that back bump swing. You heard? Just let me in, let it all in. Don't let those reptilians in. Oh, no. Don't let the reptilians in on the triangle, folks. They'll take over your business, they'll take over your family, they'll take over your home. You gotta tell them to stop it. Stop it, reptilians, stop it. Let me in.
I love when he goes and hides from the reptilians.
Like the fiend, he was cool with.
Oh yeah, he loves the fiend.
Man,
not those reptilians.
not those stinking reptilians, man.
Or the triangle folk.
Right. That's awesome, man. How old was he there?
About a year and a half.
Okay. So around the same age
like
as
a month
the last
or two away from 2. So yeah, actually almost 2.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Man, yeah. I love these videos, man. Thank you.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you for sharing that,
we
man. Because
love
that
that.
love that. Love that. Yeah, it is that's what I picked up on the first time too. I was like, he was cool with the theme. He was cool with all the other imagery. But those stinking reptilians come on screen. He's out. He's just done.
Yep.
Forget that. Oh man. I'm gonna do this week since we haven't had any music in a while. Um, have either of you guys heard anything recently, a song or anything? Same question to the chat. Let us know if you've heard any new music or anything like that. So we can kind of share with each other. We haven't done this part in a while, so um,
I've always got some new stuff that I'm listening to. A couple of bands that, well, first of all, I didn't even know this came out. A new album from The Cure, from way back in the day, and it's actually pretty good. Their last couple albums have been kind of weird, but this one's pretty good. It's kind of a throwback a little bit. Imogen Heap, who I've really gotten to like since like the first album she came out with, I think was on she was on the David Letterman show, and I heard it. This one though, completely different. It's almost like she's doing industrial metal. And it's just very, very different. She has 2 songs out. What Have You Done to Me is the first one. The other one is called Noise. The Noise one is just exactly what it is. Just like it's just noise. The album's a concept album, or at least it seems like it. And then the other one that I listened to was a cover of Journey's Separate Ways, which I always like, but it's by Daughtry. And I've never heard it before. And I happened to be listening to the actual song, and I went and looked it up to see if there was anything else going on with it, or any other like remakes or whatever. And I found that. So yeah, man, and I'm listening to a lot of yacht rock because I watched a 1.5 hour yacht rock documentary on Max, which was a lot of fun. Now I understand why. All those artists were like Michael McDonald literally has been on so many albums. And I used to wonder, like every time I'd hear the voice, it's indistinguishable. It's Michael McDonald. And I always wondered why. Well, here they were all studio musicians. So he was a studio musician that did vocals. And then he got to just know everybody. He knew, he sang with Steely Dan. He knew the guys from Toto. He met like all of these. And then, of course, Kenny Loggins did the duet with him, and that just exploded. But he knew them all. So that was the reason why he's on literally 70,000 albums during the course of the late 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
But to see them all now, it's like, you remember these guys, like Michael had this long black hair and the beard and everything. Now he's a little old man. And it's, but and then he's at Christopher Cross. And, Christopher Cross always mellow had that song called Sailing, right? And all this. He is Michael McDonald said he is the biggest potty mouth you'll ever meet in your entire life. He said he curses constantly. But it was just fun. It's fun. It was a fun watch. And I have grown more to like that kind of music now than I even did back in the late 70s and early 80s, because it's just very relaxing. And so, yeah, I enjoyed that. So if you have Max and you're into music, check it out. It's a fun watch. You learn how they got that name for it and all that kind of stuff, even though the artist didn't necessarily like it that much, but it's pretty cool. And all I will say is if they ever go on tour, because there's rumors, if they ever go on tour, Kenny Loggins, Michael McDonald, and Christopher Cross, I am going. I don't care how much it costs or where I need to go, I'm going. So...
Chris, any new music for you?
Yeah, I actually did find a new band recently called, I think it's pronounced Enemy, but it's spelled ENMY. It's a hard rock band. It reminds me a lot of like Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, bands like that. They're really good.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
That's awesome. So Clown brought up, if you're into rap, Clown brought up the new Kendrick Lamar album. I've given it a listen a couple times. It's really good. So I enjoyed that. So here's another question, and this is kind of time of the year specific. Um, when is it time to start listening to holiday music? I mean, are we at the threshold now, or can
Already have
we
that
hold
for
off?
They started it in my store on Black Friday, so apparently so. Thankfully, I have not heard Mariah. She apparently is on a schedule on the playlist of when I am out of the store. So I'm perfectly happy with that. But I have heard several renditions of "Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart" by many different bands, and so there was a thing last year with that. Kids were coming in, and there was some kind of challenge or something on. I don't know where it was. More than likely one of the socials I don't go on. But there was apparently some kind of thing where if anybody hears it in the store, they have to walk out of the store. So I'm like, well, I think my daughter told me about it. I'm like, I said to her, why don't they walk out on Mariah? Like that's you just walk out on that one, But Last Christmas isn't that bad. I mean, Wham did a version of it, which was always pretty good. But yes, it's full blown Christmas music time in retail.
Gotcha. And Chris said he's been hearing it already too, I believe, right?
Yeah, I generally start listening to it fairly early because I'm involved in my church. We start planning our big Christmas Eve celebration stuff, like usually like in October. So by October, I'm like already like trying to check out I get some ideas and stuff for what songs we want to do.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I had to put together a piece for work, a video, and it's a holiday event that we're doing in a couple weeks, and so I had to put the video together and everything, and of course you got to have Christmas music, and I was like, man, it's too early for this. It's just way too early. So. All right. Well, thank you everyone for chiming in on that. Let's go to another favorite of Jodie's, and that's artwork. We got a couple pieces this week. Thank you, Chris, for finding those. I'm gonna be annoying again and say, folks, please send us your artwork. We really want it. I promise. I promise we do. Because we want to showcase it, and I'd rather get inundated with artwork than having to scour the socials to find stuff. So we want to showcase your artwork. If you're an artist, if you see any artwork out there and think, man, that's pretty cool, screenshot it, send it to us, let us know who did it so we can give credit. And yeah, that's my my spiel on artwork for the week. So all right, folks. So here we go. Here's the first one. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I
Very
love the
cool.
use of the color red. It just really makes it pop.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, different angle too than we usually get. I dig that. It's back from the backward side of it and everything like that is it's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I gotta admit, this next one's just real fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh man, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I love this. So I saw it. I go, we have to talk about this one.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All the details, the little accessories and everything, the hammer, the lamp. Yeah, that's,
Nikki even has the videotape.
Oh yeah, Nikki does. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's really cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Jesse, my sis, joining us this evening. We're just going through a little artwork right now, and this one's a lot of fun. Like, I saw this one immediately, I chuckled, and I was like, yeah, this is real cool. So good stuff there. All right, so it's time. but I want to start somewhere completely different because it's gotten so much buzz and so much talk and everything. And I do feel like this will eventually play into the Wyatt Sicks universe. I got to get your thoughts on what happened with the New Day last night. And I'm going to start with Chris. Chris, tell me your thoughts about what we got, with that celebration and how things ended, man.
I was pretty surprised. It seemed like we were going to get exactly what I thought. That the New Day was about to break up. Kofi and Woods were going to call it quits. And then E came out and really, I thought, wow, maybe they are going to be able to keep this thing going and stuff. But then I did not see it coming at all, the way they turned on E. I felt bad for E. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. Like, here he is just trying to do his best and bring these guys together, and they're just trashing the crap out of him. I did not see that coming at all. And then at the end with them, like, it renewed this thing in them that they have this newfound solidarity all of a sudden when they were about to break up 5 minutes earlier. Like, yeah, that was a wild segment. Set my head spinning.
Yeah, I was genuinely shocked at the way that they did it. I knew that Woods would turn, but when Kofi started going in too, and man, like the emotion from Big E, like I was like, man, that's you could tell that it was hard for each of them in their own way, but seeing the way that he was processing that in front of the crowd was just wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Joe, man, I gotta hear your take on this.
Yeah, I kind of thought I figured Big E was going to be there in some capacity. I didn't think that he was going to convince them not to change at this point. I figured that they were definitely going to be, that it was going to be a heel turn, but I didn't see how it was going to go. I kind of almost thought that Big E and maybe Xavier would end up going against Kofi, because Kofi always seemed to kind of be like the last bastion, and he was going to be the one that was going to stand up for the old New Day and stuff like that. So I kind of thought that maybe the two of them would end up teaming against him, but I didn't see what ended up happening. I didn't see that they would. The fact that, I mean, my gosh, talking about Big E's going back to his desk job and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, damn. So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it was perfectly done, because they made Big E the face of the whole thing. And now they really are going to, like, how do you get people to hate the New Day? That's probably the question they were asking themselves before they did this, because so many people loved them for years and years and years. So how do you get them to do that? Well, you get them to make fun of a guy who had a neck injury and had to have surgery for it, and a guy that everybody loves. You get them to go up, you get them to turn on him. And now, I don't know if Big E's cleared. I don't know the facts on that, but if he should be at some point, now you got to wonder who comes back with Big E. Who does Big E get to take on the New Day and team up with? So, and it's interesting. And people, of course, in the chat are talking about the Wyatt Sicks. It certainly can be a target. They can for sure be a target now. When they're all done with this Karrion Kross stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, and if Big E can't come back, it could be something where the Wyatt Sicks would be the ones to kind of avenge him, since he really can't fight for himself. So yeah, brilliantly done. It is not easy to turn, look at the times that happened. Hogan turning into a heel from the big face that he was for many years, and that resonated for years and years and years as the biggest face turn to heel ever. It's not easy to do, and for them to pull this off, kudos. I mean, whoever was writing this, whether it was Big E partnering with anyone, Triple H, the guys in the back, whoever did it, was brilliantly done.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was It was tremendous. I mean, that's just if you had a similar portion of a TV show, like a drama, and that, like, you take them out of a ring and just put them in a room, and you showed me that exact scene, I would totally buy it, and I would have to watch that show after that. It was that well done. So kudos to, like you said, Joe, whoever was doing the writing, the producing, all those good things. Kudos to them, because man, that was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing about the first segment last night with CM
Yeah.
Punk and Rollins, and then
Yeah.
Rollins.
Yep.
and
Family,
Like,
yeah.
oh, there was some great stuff on last night's episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of great writing. You're 100% right. Yeah, like, and that's another thing too. We all kind of knew that was coming too. That wasn't a surprise in any way. We knew they were going to go back to Seth and Punk, but we didn't know that they were going to reverse the roles. Seth is almost acting the heel now, where everybody was behind Seth, and now Seth is doing heel things, and now it's almost like they're reversing it and getting people behind Punk. So, like I said, that is not easy to do. You take a big risk when you say, let's take somebody that everybody loved and let's change them to a heel. You're taking a big, big risk. And if that fails, you could be in a lot of trouble going down the road. And they did that last night with two, not just one of their most beloved wrestlers, but two of them. And so, all three, actually, if you count the New Day as two. But yeah, that's a big, big, big risk. But man, did it go over in both ways. And now they're just set up because they now sometimes this is why, like, one of the things that I'll say about AEW is that sometimes AEW doesn't have they don't have a good mix of heels and faces. They seem like they always have one too many faces or one too many heels. And this is why, you have to take risks like this, because WWE was at a point where, okay, Roman changed over. So Roman's technically a face now. So now you have a whole team of him, and, the OG bloodline are all faces. Well, now you got to turn some people heel a little bit. And it was brilliant the way they did it with Seth, because now Seth does have a gripe. He has a gripe with Roman. Roman was beating him up the last time the last time they confronted each other. So he certainly has a grievance there to state and to say that he doesn't trust him. And I would agree with him 100%. I wouldn't either. So it's all, both of them are just great storylines. Fantastic storylines, and it's going to be a fun WrestleMania season if they got that stuff going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to throw this out there too. If Big E is somehow, by the grace of God, able to wrestle again, the moment that he returns, he is going to be the biggest face in the business, and the pop is going to be absolutely and utterly insane.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if he gets his hands on Woods and Kofi.
Yeah.
So Matthew's asking again, how would you book the Wyatts and Kofi and Woods? And then we'll do this quick, and then we'll go into what we got last night. Joe, we'll start with you and then end with Chris.
I mean, I'd probably go similarly now. Now you kind of have to book a little different when it's like a big group like they have now against Cross and those guys, because they have a big group of people. You have to go a little different, but it'll be similar to how they did it. It's only basically two of them. So I would probably have I would have Gacy and Loomis as your tag team, and just have Howdy out there with them. Just have Howdy kind of acting as a manager. Obviously Nikki, of course, too. And you could even have Rowan accompany them to the ring, kind of like they did against American Made. It's basically two of them against the Wyatt, so it would kind of be unfair a lot. But who knows? What happens with this Cross thing? There's going to be a lot of bad blood there, and if that doesn't end correctly, you could have Cross's group kind of team up a little with the New Day to kind of solve a mutual problem. But yeah, I would generally have Loomis and Gacy going up against the New Day in 2-on-2 matches. That's what I would do. I would also think that I would probably get the belt back into the hands of the New Day at some point too, and have them win the title belts back, because having them have a run at it as heels would be something very different than how it was before. And it would also kind of justify them turning heel to begin with, because then all of a sudden the losing streak ends, they start winning matches, they get the belts back, and now they're kind of on top of the world. And then that's maybe when you have the Wyatts come in and, say, all right, enough's enough.
Chris, your thoughts on Joe's take and just how you would book it?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as Joe. I like the idea of seeing like Gacy and Loomis together, and we've talked about that before. I think they'd make a cool tag team, so I think that would be a good way for them to go after the New Day. And I like his idea too of that we could see this cross Final Testament thing maybe fold up into that, and we've already seen some crossover in that with things that Cross has said to Woods in the first place that kind of kicked off this heel turn of theirs. He planted those seeds a while back, so it could make sense to go that route. And also I like the idea about the tag belts too. I think that would be really cool, and could be getting that sooner rather than later. I mean, Pierce did say last night that Finn Balor was going to have to defend those titles against somebody on Raw. So maybe it'd be the New Day.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Clown. And then we're gonna read this, and then we'll go into the story with the Final Testament. Clown says you have New Day go on a dastardly heel run. If Big E ever gets cleared, you have New Day fight a bigger, badder group with more people, then get beat down. Big E saves them, and all is right in the world. That could eventually happen. And then he also says New Day needs to win to establish their new persona. Wyatts need to win because they don't wrestle that much. Keep them apart for at least a year and a half. Okay. I think that's fair. Well, let's talk about who's not staying apart right now. And that's the Final Testament and the Wyatt Sicks. And so I want to ask this. I'll start with Chris. What did you think of how we got the challenge and the response to it? What did you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good, and as stacked as last night's Raw was, I'm kind of not surprised that we didn't get more than what we got. And I think it was good. If that's what we're going to do, at least they gave us, something to really look forward to. We know we're getting a match next week now between all of them. So yeah, I think they did a pretty good job setting that up.
Yeah, Joe, what did you think about it?
I mean, I thought it was pretty much the response I would have figured we would get. The thing is with Cross, and I'm sure the Wyatt Sicks, in the plans and stuff like that, know this. They have him off. I think they've got him a little bit off his game now, because they went after his wife, and again, like they kind of threatened that they would do. When that happens, sure, he's going to be angry, he's going to be upset, but he's also going to be a little, you're a little shaken by that. Because not only now does he have to worry about himself, but he has to worry about her as well. And so, he has to be now a little leery of what they're going to do next. They promised what they were going to do. They did it. So now, all this, the thing is, he's trying to play mind games back. He's doing that one recording he did where he's basically talking to himself on the recording from NXT was pretty cool. So he's trying to play mind games back with them, but they're going to be the master manipulators. They're the masters of the mind games, I think. And Cross is just trying to play that back, but they made the first strike. What is Cross going to do? That's going to do something similar to them. And he has to play that. So would he go after Nikki and do something similar to her? Would he go after, one of the others and injure them backstage or something along those lines? If he wants to play their game, then that's what he has to do. He has to stoop lower than they're willing to go. And I don't know that anybody's willing to go any lower than they are, because they're a dark group. They're very much, we know that when Bray was around, Bray was always the mastermind, always the one manipulating everyone else. So this is Cross trying to, and he's even trying to channel his, Bray Wyatt a little bit. He's, all his promos, he's talking about how Bray kind of messaged him and all this kind of stuff. And so he's even trying to get in their heads with that, saying, well, no, that's not you. That's supposed to be me. So it's very interesting. And, we'll see when this comes to a head. Obviously next week on Raw, we got something. It's really surprising me a little bit, though, that we got Saturday night's main event coming up. I kind of thought it would be a good opportunity maybe to showcase them a little bit on there, but obviously it's not going to happen. They're talking about next week's Raw, so they're keeping them on Raw, and I was a little surprised by that. I thought maybe that they would have done something for Saturday night's main event, but it does seem right now, at least, that they're keeping them off of the pay-per-views.
Well, I'm going to come back to that, because Chris and I, when we were chatting before the stream, we were kind of talking about, wow, it feels kind of fast to get the match. And but we'll come back to that. I'll throw it to Chris real quick. And then we'll talk about that on the other side in terms of what could happen.
Oh, so yeah, I think I was surprised too to see that they're already jumping into the 8-man tag. I kind of thought we might get some smaller matches here or there before that, but it's definitely interesting to see that. Yeah, we were theorizing that there's a chance that maybe we don't get a finish in this match, and then so maybe we'll end up getting the match again, like Jeff even said, maybe adding a stipulation onto it, and that's the match we get at Saturday night's main event. I could definitely see something like that happening. Something happens, and it just turns into a big brawl, and nothing, no finish happens, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a high possibility. Or let's say we don't get the full groups. I think that's when we start to get maybe some of the one-on-one or tag team matches, possibly for Saturday night's main event. I think we'll at least get something from this feud on that show. I think Jeremy asked this question. Could Scarlett turn on Cross? Joe, what do you think about that?
They could. I mean, if they wanted to do that, they could play on it as being just fear, that she's afraid and that she would do it that way. I don't think so. It kind of goes against what she is. Like, yeah, she kind of scared her and stuff and everything like that. But, the personality that she has doing the videos and YouTube and all that kind of stuff and going to the haunted houses and the things that she does kind of makes you think that she doesn't scare all that easy. So, I mean, I know that's her true personality, not really the wrestler persona, but I don't think so. I think that, she'll play on it, but to me, as opposed to that, I would see her getting a measure of revenge, for herself. I don't, and maybe it's something I don't want to see her do, because I've said that I want to see her wrestle in this at some point. So I don't think it's something I want to see her do. I'm hoping that she wrestles Nikki at some point. So, but I would say maybe what the next play is to kind of Cross maybe uses Scarlett as bait, but Scarlett isn't as weak as the Wyatt Sicks might think she is, and that she comes and does something that they don't expect. So that's kind of what I would like to see. I don't want to see her necessarily play the damsel in distress, because I think she's more than that. And I'd want to see that come out of her a little bit.
Gotcha. Chris, what do you think about the possibility or the idea of Scarlett turning on Cross?
Yeah, I don't think I see that happening either. Like Joe said, to me, it just doesn't make much sense, especially since they're a real life couple, and a lot of people know that. I think that would be a little weird to have them go against each other on TV like that. But I definitely could see some of those, things happen. Like they're using her as bait to try and get Nikki or something like that and go after her. She definitely, I don't think is weak by any means. So, yeah, I could definitely see some of that happen.
Yeah. I don't think she'll turn on him. I think, I like both of your ideas there. I think, she could be a bigger role player than I think folks are thinking at the moment. I think some people just kind of think she's just there, like you guys said, but she's gonna have a bigger role than that, I think.
I'm hoping maybe at some point they, Cross tells her she needs to just handle Nikki, and that's where we get a match between them.
Yeah. I like that. Steve saying, I hope not. I hate when they break up real life relationships on TV. I agree with that. I don't like it because it's awkward. And you can kind of tell that it's awkward. Steven saying Miss Bliss could come in, both Nikki and Alexa after Scarlett.
I still don't see that happening. I know so many want it. Now Alexa announced that she's going to be back sometime before WrestleMania. I think you might want to pull back the reins on that, because I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think we talked about this before in this show, and I think she's going to be very similar to Braun in how I honestly think they have a grudge against her. I don't think they're going to welcome her with open arms into that group. And Howdy remember, guys, you gotta remember storylines a little bit. Howdy was trying to recruit her, and she kind of wanted no part of him. And also going back to that WrestleMania when she betrayed Bray. I mean, that's something that Howdy would keep in his memory and his mind in the storyline. So I really don't think, I know so many people want that, Steven, and I get it. And a lot of people, you're not the only one. There's tons of people on X and all that kind of stuff who want that to happen. I just don't think it fits the storyline. I just don't. Maybe someday down the road, but I just don't think that she fits the storyline right now. And Nikki is the one in there. Nikki should be the focus. And if Alexa ended up in there, Nikki, I think, would kind of be pushed to the side. And especially not necessarily by the group, but by the fans. And I don't think that would be fair to Nikki. So
no. I 100% expect Alexa to just come back as her original Little Miss Bliss character.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think initially she's gonna be a foe. I don't see her joining up with them anytime soon.
No.
Agreed.
I don't even think she'll be involved with them at all for a while. Maybe down the road they go after her, but I think they've got too much going on right now on their plate with the Final Testament and potentially the New Day. I even think that we might have seen some potential for Seth Rollins to be a target down the road with the way he's going. I mean, he's so obsessed with Roman right now that he's willing to turn on his friends that he's had just because they helped Roman out. Like, he's becoming obsessive. So I could see him being a target down the road for him turning on his friends over it. So I think the Wyatt Sicks have a lot on their plate right now, and I don't see Alexa fitting in that anytime soon.
Great point. Right. There's history there. We know the history between Bray and Seth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we were saying, man. It works so well because there's so many wrestlers constantly turning on each other.
Yep.
So it works. It works extremely well, and it certainly looks like is Seth the one that did he do the backstage thing to Jay? So we'll see, but they're certainly setting up future possible storylines going down the road. And all those rumors that we got about them going to SmackDown, I don't think that's happening anymore. I think you can clearly see the setup that they have for feuds here going forward on Raw. And I think they're going to want them to stay right where they are, especially because of Netflix, where they could do a little more, maybe a little more, creepy things with that group. So I don't really think they're going anywhere.
I think that's a great point. Clown saying they will probably totally swerve us, and it will turn out Alexa attacked Jade, and she's on SmackDown.
I could see that happening more than I could see her joining the Wyatt Sicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deanna, what's up, Deanna? Saying devil's advocate here. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get through the finish line. What if Cross isn't the bad guy everyone thinks? What if he's only showing us the truth, his version? That is an interesting thought.
It is interesting. And can you imagine if he shows us, the fans, something that now he was alluding to it. Could you imagine if he shows us something that Bray, like, I don't know, let's say Bray wrote him something, or let's say, something happened. Let's say that there's something we just never heard about, that Cross proves in essence what he was saying. And listen, it's wrestling, so they could do something whether it's not real or is. But what if he comes out and goes that far and brings it out and says, "Hey, you're listening to this false prophet here, but I was handpicked. I was the guy that he wanted to do to continue his work, not him." And then he puts that little bit of doubt into all of those followers of Uncle Howdy. Very interesting.
Yep. I think that's definitely a possibility, especially from the fact that we've already seen him kind of do that. He did show a tweet from their DM from Bray to him, and it sounded like Bray was rooting him on. So that's definitely a possibility, I think.
Yeah.
And then we got the response, and I just want to make this picture larger again because wow. So we get the response. Obviously, the Wyatt Sicks accept. Chris, what did you think about the response? What kind of craziness do you think we get next week?
I think it's going to be a good match. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, I don't know. Part of me just really thinks that we're not going to get a finish this match. I could be wrong. Maybe we do, but I don't know. I'm really not feeling it. That it just seems too soon to have this and have there be a finish and somebody wins, So yeah, I'm kind of going into it expecting that there's going to be some type of shenanigans and we don't end up getting a clear winner from this match.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Chris. They're not going to finish this. I think that it's almost like they take turns. They got the better of Final Testament with the whole thing with Scarlett. I think that you're going to see Final Testament get the better of them a little bit this time with something. You mentioned Nikki. You always have to be careful of The Miz. You always have to be on the lookout for The Miz. Does The Miz come down and come to the ring with them and end up grabbing Nikki and kidnapping Nikki somehow and taking her to the back and taking a piece away from them like they did with them with Scarlett? So this is their revenge, I would think. There's something up their sleeve. The reason why they wanted this match, the reason why they made this match. But yeah, I agree. We're going to get something that's not going to be, I don't think necessarily something that's going to go the Wyatt Sicks way this coming week, that it's going to force this to continue. And, but yeah, I think that the Final Testament, I think, is going to get the upper hand this week.
Miz is actually in the match
Oh, he is? Okay. Is he in the
Yeah.
match? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's-
Well, then maybe
yeah.
maybe they get, what's their manager's name? Maybe he returns.
Paul Ellering.
Maybe Ellering returns.
Yeah.
And maybe he would be the one to come and like grab Nikki or something like that and take her backstage. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't realize Miz was in it. Okay, so maybe Ellering shows up, and maybe that's the surprise that we get.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since he got mandible clawed. So.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, at this point, is the Miz safe though?
No. Either the Final Testament will kick him to the curb or let him just take the fall or whatever, or the Wyatts will do it for him. Either way. Yeah. That's the one person I would not want to be in that match with the Miz.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. All right. Well, my voice has probably gotten to the point where it's not going to go much further. So I want to ask both of you 2 questions to wrap up here. So the first question is, and both of you've kind of alluded to it, but I want to have you go a little bit deeper, what you think we get on Monday, and then what you think we get after that. And then the final question is just final thoughts where you think this is going long term. And I'll start with Joe.
Joe's having a coughing spell. Long term could be kind of anything now, because we're coming up on Saturday night's main event. Maybe that's if they want to end it before Rumble season, and who's to say they will? Maybe they don't. But if they want to end it before Rumble season, you'd probably want to go with, like you guys were saying earlier, with something at Saturday night's main event. I don't know how far are they willing to go. A cage match? Could we get a Hell in the Cell at Saturday night's main event? If they want to make that really special, they've had a lot. Go back to when you used to watch Saturday night's main event. I'm sure you guys both probably remember in the 80s and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of cage matches on that show. Lots.
Oh, yeah.
You had Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy in a cage on that show. You had many, many, many cage matches. So if they want to go that route, that would be certainly one that they could do and have that happen there. If you want to keep going and just have this carry through to the end of the year and into next year, maybe at the Royal Rumble it culminates. You could do that too. They can really go so many different directions with groups that are this big, and have a whole bunch of stuff kind of happen. So yeah, look, I know that with this, a lot of times patience is a virtue. But from what they've been doing and what they've done, I think that I think everything so far that they've done has been good. I'm not seeing anything that makes me believe that it's gonna fail at some point. So we're never getting too much. And in the times when you think we are getting a little too much, they kind of cut it off a little bit for a couple weeks. So I'm good with it. I don't have any complaints at all. I don't think it's being overdone. And I kind of like where they're going with it.
Gotcha. All right, Chris.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for next week. Like I said, I think there's definitely a chance we don't get a finish. There's a chance we do. There's a chance either side could win if there is a finish. Especially if they're going to keep this feud going. I thought it was something I think would be pretty interesting to see that could happen. Maybe Nikki doesn't come out with them, and then Scarlett's out there, and during the match, Nikki comes out from under the ring and grabs Scarlett or something like that to distract Cross and Final Testament, and they end up losing that way. That's another scenario. I think there's just endless possibilities with how they could go with this. So it's going to be really interesting to see which direction they go. It's not predictable by any means as to who's going to win and what's going to come about of this. As far as long term goes, I definitely think that they've got plenty of potential to keep going with this. Maybe we do culminate it like Royal Rumble or something. I don't see any of the guys from either faction or any of them really being in the Royal Rumble match itself. I don't think none of them really feel like a good fit for the Rumble match. So they could easily have some kind of a big match like this be the culmination at Royal Rumble, maybe with a stipulation on it or something. So yeah, there's endless potential here. It's going to be cool to see where they go with it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Clown saying Cross and AOP abandoned Miz on Monday to get beat, and then we get Cross versus Howdy at main event.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good with
definitely a
that.
possibility too.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna play fantasy booker real quick before we wrap up, and say that I really wish that there was some way to add some pods to the elimination chamber,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and you do a match in the elimination chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that made me think of that is the movie 13 Ghosts.
Oh, I love that movie.
And if you almost like release them out like that, that would be so cool, I think.
Yeah,
I just
I
had
love
that
that.
I just had that kind of flip in my mind real quick. But so Joe, have you ever seen 13 Ghosts?
I've seen bits and pieces, never saw the whole thing. And I meant to watch it because I remember Jodie mentioning it too.
Yeah.
And I when I first saw the thing from it, I'm like, yeah, it's not one I think I'm going to watch. But I think just out of sheer curiosity, I might have to.
There are a couple spots in there that might get you, Joe.
Yeah, I heard there's a little contortion in there, and there's some of that kind of stuff going on. Yeah.
Chris, I know you were saying how much you loved it. Just how talk
Yeah.
about that real
I had
quick.
already thought, I almost mentioned it, but I just feel like the possibility is so low, because if only Elimination Chamber wasn't the way it is, like now it's this staple that whoever wins that gets a title match at WrestleMania and stuff.
Mhm.
If it wasn't for that, if it was like it used to be, where it didn't necessarily have a title on the line or any kind of opportunities or anything for that, then yeah, I feel like that would be just the perfect stipulation to have for this.
Yeah.
This feud, to have them all in the Elimination Chamber, that could be just amazing.
It would be tremendous. I mean, like you said, I mean, because of what it is now, we won't get it, but
Yeah,
we can dream.
and they're hyping it up at Cena's last Elimination Chamber, so he's going to be involved in it and stuff. So yeah, we won't get it, but yeah, we can wish.
we can wish and dream. And you know what? I petition that, Joe, if you watch 13 Ghosts, we should do a watch along on the channel.
Oh, that's a great idea. It's a fun movie.
It is.
It can be a little cheesy at times, but it's a fun horror movie.
Yeah. It's that typical kind of early 2000s style of horror movie. And I mean, you got some jump scares, you got some different stuff, but yeah, it was really well done, I thought.
The characters are great.
I was just about to ask you, Chris, favorite monster.
That's tough. Probably the Jackal. I like the Jackal a lot.
Yeah. Y'all know that they're setting me up, right? They just want to get me in front of the camera watching this movie so I can die like I did during Halloween Havoc. Right? Y'all know it's a setup, right?
Except this time it's on camera. And
right, exactly. Because you didn't get me on the camera the last time during that debacle of Halloween Havoc. So yeah,
I'll say this, Joe. There are. And again, I would never go into it saying there's absolutely nothing. Don't be worried. And then we get a reaction and it goes viral and all that good stuff. But it's not it's not that bad with the contortion. I mean, there's one female kind of monster that's kind of
course it's female, yeah.
Right. And I know that's a thing, so that's why I'm letting you know. So but yeah, it was really good. It was really good. And lots of people in the chat, like Deanna.
It's a really cool concept too, what they do in that movie. Like you've never seen anything done like that before.
Yeah. It was interesting. And it's one that I always go back to, and rewatch every now and again.
And cast is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good cast. Gosh, what's his name? I always forget. Matthew Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
really,
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, really good in there. So yeah, it's good stuff. Joe, check out a trailer. Look up some of the. I'll send you some stuff, and if you can deal with that, then. But I wouldn't want to just get you on stream and then be like, oh, whoa. That's true, Clown. We still have to do a Halloween watch along.
Yeah, we owe them that one too. Now, see that one I'm good. I've seen that several thousand times.
Yeah,
but yeah. Thank God that was never on video. Good Lord, that would have been all over the internet. Still, I would still have been seeing. I would still have been seeing memes of myself going, "God, Lord, make this stop." And he had all those contortionists going to the ring that day.
Oh man, that was hilarious. That was just absolutely
Alicia,
hilarious.
I am not watching anything with the word exorcism, exorcist, or exercise in the film. No thanks. Not happening. Nope.
Joe's just not doing that.
Nope.
Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here. This was a lot of fun discussion on everything. That segment last night, though, man, that was one of the best. I think that was one of the best episodes of Raw of the year.
Yeah, it really was.
It was solid.
Yeah, it really was. And you know what? Like I said, kudos, because they're starting over. When you finish a pay-per-view like that, you're starting over. Where are you going to go? You finish all the feuds, and that show after a major pay-per-view like that, especially when you're coming to the end of the year and you're already now setting up for next year, that's big. You have to nail it. You absolutely have to nail it. And they did. I'm going to be curious what they do on SmackDown now, because again, same sort of kind of thing. You're getting to the end of the year. You really have to nail it. And so, SmackDown, I think, has become a little bit of the inferior show. Raw has just been better. And so SmackDown's they've got some stuff to fill. I know they have the Bloodline there. I know they have Cody and KO, but they've got to show me something this coming Friday.
Yeah. It should be an interesting couple weeks leading up to that. So should be a lot of fun. Deanna's saying it's the pre-start for Mania. Yeah, I mean, the road to WrestleMania, we even got a little bit of hint of that with CM Punk last night.
Yep. Starts with the Rumble.
That's it. Alicia's saying, wonder what happened to the giant bootio.
They gave it to someone in the crowd, probably.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to need this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All right, guys. It was a lot of fun. As always, we will be back on Thursday for TNA. Should be an interesting week. Joe and I will probably talk a little bit before the show about the news that broke recently with Josh Alexander. Not sure if you've seen it yet, Joe, but
I did not.
He is going to be a free agent in February, and he is going to test the market.
I kind of thought that might be the case.
Yep. So
yeah, TNA is gonna. We were talking about that. Yeah, come out and watch, guys. It's been a very, very good show. And look, if you're a fan of Josh's, you're a fan of Jordan Grace, you're a fan of any of them, this could be their swan songs. So yeah, come out and see them before they go. And look, TNA's gotten some new people. I mean, who would have thought Matt Riddle would be a TNA superstar at some point? So Obviously, that's the case. So they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to do that. If you lose big personalities like Jordan and now Josh maybe, and then Joe Hendry, we don't know where Josh may go. He could go to AEW. We don't know. But if you're going to lose that kind of stuff, you have to make up for that. And so they're gonna probably be bringing some people that may have left WWE. Baron Corbin might be a name. Some other people that left there might end up in TNA. So it's going to be a time to really tune in to see your favorites, maybe not that you won't see anymore there, and also to see some new people starting to come in the show too. So.
Yeah, so come and join us Thursday night, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. TNA already parted ways with Matt, said he won't be back. Okay. All right.
That's quick. One and done then, huh?
Yeah, one and done. All right.
Okay.
All right. There you go then. Yeah, come join us. And of course, I forgot to do this during the show, but if you don't mind, folks, drop us a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, we thank you for joining us. We welcome you, and we would ask if you would please consider subscribing to the channel so you can be a part of this show and all the others that we do across the channel and be a part of the family. So, yeah, I think that Barry Monkey saying the Maple Leaf Pro, Scott Demora's promotion, I think that might be a safe bet there. All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week. Thank you all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We thank you for all the comments and theories and ideas. And we'll be back next week we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll see what happens in the match. So come check us out next week. If you don't get a chance to check us out on Thursday. And Joe and I will talk about doing Between the Ropes and let you all know and get that information out to you. So all right, thank you all so much, and take care. We'll see you next time, folks.